I haven't had a coffee all year. This will be my first coffee. Are you filming this?
No.
Have you had a coffee this morning?
I haven't even had breakfast.
Neither have I. I can't guarantee consumables. Nice scarf, Sam. Where'd you get that? Autobahn? Please tell me you recorded that. You really have to walk with conviction. If you walk apologetically, they will try and run you over.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So what is this video going to be about, Sam? You wanted a reflection. It seems to be inside this building. We need to get inside the building. The problem is you're not in this shot. There we go.
Happy?
Yeah, well, I said you have to be in my video. I think it's this place. What are you gonna eat? I'm gonna have one savoury, one sweet.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Is that a good idea? I'm leaning towards. That's it. First coffee for the year, Sam. It's a huge event. Molto bene. Cheers.
Cheers.
Do you say cheers when you drink coffee? I don't think so.
There you go.
Oh dear.
How does it feel to have Luigi in the land of his maker?
Feels good. No, it's I think the interesting thing was when we were in Amsterdam and we heard all the other quartets, and you know, a quartet isn't made or broken by its instrument, but it is a distinct privilege to be able to have a set of 4 of them, and you realize the rare privilege that it is to actually have a set of 4 of them. And I mean, every day you play them, it doesn't really matter where you are in the world, you think, gosh, what a pleasure it is to play it, you know, and it certainly makes you want to do more practice. But it is something poetic or romantic about playing it in Italy. You know, there's the whole history, the whole life of the instrument, to know that it started here in this culture, in this country, you know, with these people, and this environment, you know, it is nice. It is this weird thing, like he goes with you everywhere. Like he goes with me everywhere, except for breakfast. You get used to having him, you know, wherever you are in the world or in Australia, like Luigi's always there.
Do you feel that push, almost the pressure that you need to live up to the instrument?
I wouldn't go that far, but it is the sort of instrument where you play it, and oh, sorry, I've just exposed. Okay, because I was about to take my jacket off. Can we cut it and then we'll start again? We're back like nothing happened, and see, and so yeah, it doesn't necessarily make me want to practice more. It makes me, when you play a really nice instrument that has a lot of depth and character, you want to find that and you want to figure out how to use it. And so I think that's the thing that drives me to want to play it all the time. Not do it justice, but to give it my best go while I get this opportunity to do it. Because you don't get to do it for the whole of your life, and I won't get to do it for forever. So while I've got it, I want to figure out how to make Luigi sound as good as he can, or as good as I can sound. I should have more coffee. It's a good thing we found a really quiet place to do it.
A quiet place in the room doesn't exist.
That's true.
You made me feel like your instrument gives you so much, and in turn you want to give your instrument that too.
Yep.
Like being in any music outfit, you play for your colleagues, you play for the audience, you play for your instrument, you play for yourself, you play for the composer. Is that a pressure? Do you feel the weight of doing things justice?
Yeah. I think the best answer I can give is one that Beethoven said, and that is, don't just practice your art, force your way into its secrets. Because communication of any kind is about this way. It's about thinking about things with more than one perspective. That the communication between two people is not one person's. It's not a one-sided affair. Being an artist is not a one-sided affair. There's so much noise in the world about being a reality superstar or a Instagrammable success or whatever, and being self-made. I love that expression, and I'm not entirely sure what that even means, because no one does anything in a silo. Being in a quartet is not about what I do. It's about what the quartet does. And in the case of ASQ, it's not just what the quartet does, it's what the entire team around us does. And Paul and Lou, for instance, writing a work, they can't even claim to be the only person who wrote the work, because they both wrote the work, but it's also, for Lou, it's the voice of ancestors. For Paul, it's his entire life history of learning to write music, and then how the quartet plays it. I play cello, sure, but I was taught by lots of different people and inspired by lots of different people. I just happen to be the mouthpiece for a certain part in the journey. That's why I was saying, life and conversations and communication is about this. It's not about one specific point. Everything is linear. I'm absolutely buzzing.
That was the
But go on.
what we said.
Was it? Well, that's why I'm here.
My question is this: do you communicate differently when you're here?
I'm so grateful that I've had the opportunity to be a musician, because being a musician on a stage is very much a unique experience, almost unique. I think tennis players, boxers, people that have to do exhibitionist type activities in front of hordes of people, hopefully, and have to perform in whatever capacity that is, have to go on quite a journey. Particularly in our case, it's a journey of communication amongst people on stage, trying to get a message out, a performance out, and it's a very trying set of circumstances, performing in front of an audience. It's actually really hard. Anybody that says it's really easy is lying. It takes a lot of craft and a lot of time and a lot of experience, and then as soon as you think you've figured it out, you have a bad day. So it turns out, you can never master it. And I think there's a lot of similarities between that and tennis players and golfers. whilst you can have a whole team around you like we do, once you go out on stage, there's just the four of us, or if it's a solo concert, it's just the one of you. No one can help you except for those colleagues on stage, or if you're doing a solo concert, the only person who can help you is you. And that, whether you're doing it in Bundaberg or if you're doing it in Amsterdam, is exactly the same. We would get just as nervous doing the same thing anywhere in the world because that bit doesn't change. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it shows a great respect for people.
Well, the art is about the communal activity of listening to the music, and being expressive as performers, but then being receptive as an audience. That art form doesn't matter where you do it, right? Like that's, it's great to do it in the Guadagnini in Italy, but it's exactly the same experience, that you can have, at home listening to a CD. If you're listening and you're taking it in, it's about how it makes you feel, how it makes you contemplative, reflective. Yeah. Can I eat something? Okay, we can start again in a second.
We don't need to.
We don't need to. I've nailed it, have I?
No.
Nailed it.